J. Cole is hip-hop Spider-Man. I'm Trixie the Golden Witch here on the stoop, and I'm going to tell you what the hell I'm talking about. So, I was thinking about rappers. I was thinking about J. Cole and how he sells an amazing amount of albums for a guy that nobody talks about at all. And I don't mean that nobody talks about him like nobody talks about his music. He's got tons of fans, plenty of people who are like, oh, J. Cole is the guy. But it's not talked about in pop culture, not the way that Kanye West is, or Ye, rather, I should say, with respect to the way he currently refers to himself. Drake has that sort of rock star bombast, and in spite of the fact that he is pulling numbers comparable to those artists, J. Cole is not trying to be the kind of person that either of those guys is. He's not the over-the-top superhero of hip-hop in the way that these guys are trying to be. So it got me thinking about if these guys were superheroes, what superheroes would they be? Because there are kind of like four most popular superheroes and four most popular rappers. So the most like, top selling, the baby face of rap, the one that like is known all over the world, is obviously Drake. That would be the Superman. The milquetoast, acceptable to everyone, but favored by few sort of hero. Like everybody sees him as like, obviously he's the king of heroes, but at the same time, he's not the most like beloved. He's not the most sacred. He's not the most related to. He's just like the one that has to exist because there has to be a king of hero, basically. There has to be a king of just raw sales, of raw popularity, and that's always going to be something that is fairly milquetoast, that's accessible to as many people as possible. So that's where you got Drake, Superman of rap. So then you got Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar is the king of jazz rap. He's the king of, the full picture production experience where you're going to get an album that has like tons of people working on it, all of them collaborating to realize like a singular artistic vision that's like a statement that's as big as it could possibly be about as much as hip hop is almost capable of commenting on. I think Kendrick is the Batman of rappers. It's someone who, in spite of the fact that he's in that pantheon, whereas like J. Cole is just like a regular dude almost. Kendrick's not a regular dude. He's too much of a new type psychic fucking art man to be that. But he's also not like trying to be Superman. He's not trying to be all powerful. He's not trying to be recognized for having like the most sales or the most attention. He's recognized for being the best at what he does, the most like respected, the most beloved in the business. So that's why he's like Batman. Batman, he's not the most powerful superhero, but he's probably the best at being a superhero. He's the guy who's compensating for the most but having the most result, and I think Kendrick, as somebody who doesn't have an amazing sounding voice, who doesn't have like, necessarily personally the most interesting story, or, not to say that Kendrick's story isn't interesting, but it's the way he tells his story that has made him a legend, not the fact that he has just like an innately interesting story or personality. It's that he can, tell his story in such a way that will make people connect with it. So, I think he fills into that Batman secondary kind of role. So then you got Kanye West. And Kanye West is the richest rapper. He's deeply controversial in that he has this unhinged personal life and social life, in contrast with the fact that he is still considered a musical god, one of the biggest influences, one of the most important, voices for sure of the last 20 years of hip hop. And if we're thinking about where comics have been for that same period of time, comic book heroes at the very least, Iron Man has been the big name in comic book heroes because of his film series and because of him sort of being put as the center of the MCU, this father figure who's, troubled in his own way, guiding everybody else and sort of influencing the way that everything evolves in the MCU from that point forward. So Kanye is that type of figure, endlessly innovative, eminently genius, creating all these lanes for other people to drive in while also being like just so driven by his own personal complicated desires that it's hard to like fully relate to him and fully, think like, oh, he's a great guy. Like Tony Stark, he's a little bit of a bastard, but that's also part of what makes him so great. So then we get to J. Cole. And J. Cole is the Spider-Man of the hip-hop world, as you got from the title. And that's because J. Cole, he has an amazing amount of power. He has the reach, he has the ability to speak words, he has, with eloquence, he's a good rapper. But rather than, trying to present himself as Superman or Batman or try to be like the heart of all hip hop or this or that, he's really just trying to represent the everyday average person. Like he is just basically has found a way to not stop being normal. And in a way, J. Cole could be taken as really abnormal because of the fact that he acts so different from how a celebrity would normally act. That somebody can have as much fame, as much money, and and clout behind him and fans as he has who like really would support him through anything he does, and to not try to like take advantage of that to become the richest or the most outspoken or this or that. Like, he just seems like a dude who's trying to live a very normal life, but has the means to make that extremely easy for himself. He can live kind of, he calls himself lazy in some of his interviews where he's like, yeah, I'm just chilling. I'm just like, everything's on automatic, and I'm like, like the biggest thing that he has to push through is motivating himself to go out and do it again, kind of thing. And so, like, with Spider-Man, you've got this character who, it's not that he couldn't be more than he is. It's not that he couldn't, like, be Iron Man. It's that, like, he wouldn't, that he's just doesn't have that personality. He doesn't have that, like, attitude towards his own life. Spider-Man still lives in a normal, like, New York apartment and, web slings around, like, helping regular people in the streets because he's just not trying to be the biggest hero of all time. He's trying to do all kinds of different shit. In the same way that J. Cole goes into the offseason and goes play basketball, like Spider-Man he's got his fingers in a whole lot of pies, and it weakens him because he doesn't really know how to like balance his time well and do any one thing kind of like with all of his focus. So he's always just kind of scatterbrained and all over the place. But that's what makes him so relatable to people, is that most people don't have a handle on their lives. They don't follow like clean-cut arcs and stuff. It's just like this endless stumbling into new states of being governed by your environment. And so like J. Cole he finds a way not to lose that. You never have this sense that he's gone beyond you, that like, oh, J. Cole is this untouchable god. And I'm sure there are probably people who feel that way. And maybe part of why I don't is that like I didn't like him that much before the off season. I really thought that I could appreciate where he was coming from and who he represented, but I didn't feel like I could relate to it all that much because it was almost a sense of J. Cole was maybe not dumbing down his message, but somebody who was like not trying that hard to have that Kendrick Lamar like full breadth grasp of everything he's seeing and like really trying to like bring this bigger message. It felt like J. Cole was like saying he was doing that without doing it. Like he was just talking about himself and acting like he was talking about more than that. And I think that he's reached a point now where he's good enough at sharing his experience as a normal person without trying to make it bigger than himself, that it is more relatable. That like the fact that he has been so relatable to regular people comes through because he's not trying to represent voices outside himself or anything like that. He just is that regular, and that's why people connect with him that well. So, again, I see this as similar to Spider-Man. He's a dude who, you never picture Spider-Man outside of a kid web-slinging around New York City. Even if he's an adult, he's still a kid web-slinging around New York City, taking pictures of stuff, being, like, artistically minded and involved with people, and never quite so untouchable. So that's my theory. Let me know what you think. I got a few more hero connections to rappers I'll go through right now. We got Eminem is the Hulk. Nicki Minaj is Wonder Woman. Tech Nine is The Flash. Lil Wayne is Martian Manhunter. Jay-Z, Nick Fury. Snoop Dogg is the Green Lantern, because, always on the green. Wu-Tang Clan are the X-Men. Tupac is Captain America. Nas is Thor. Travis Scott is Doctor Strange. Future is Aquaman. 3 6 Mafia are the Guardians of the Galaxy. Childish Gambino is Nightwing. And Ludacris is Blue Beetle, and that's as far as I got in that so far. So let me know what other rappers or superheroes, or if you agree or disagree with my choices in the comments below. Let me know how you feel about J. Cole being Spider-Man and all the other ones I did just now. I'm sure you'll have your own opinions. This will probably get the most discussion out of any video on this channel. This has been Ygg Studio. You can find... This has been Branches of Ygg, the Ygg Studio music offshoot channel. You can go to the main channel to see stuff about anime, or stick around here for artist interviews, albums that me and Vizier, the producer and editor of this channel, put together, as well as stuff from our friends. And always remember that music is like superheroes. Makes life better and stuff.
What you reviewing? What you reviewing? What you reviewing?